You use willpower for 6 hours. An elite soldier uses systems for 40 minutes. You force yourself to stay focused. He removes the decision entirely. 3 weeks later, you're burned out. He is still moving at full speed. And the worst part? You still think discipline is about motivation. Listen, if you want soft encouragement, close the tab. This is not for people addicted to excuses. This is for the person who is tired of losing to their own brain. Willpower is not a strategy. It is emergency fuel. People who rely on it eventually crash, every time. Think about automatic doors. They do not wait for motivation. The system is already built. The trigger fires. The action happens. Elite soldiers work the same way. They do not wake up every morning asking themselves how they feel. That would be insane. Their environment decides for them before emotion gets a vote. Your brain does this too. It physically burns less energy when actions become automatic. Academics call this cognitive offloading. I call it building rails for your behavior. That is scaffolding. One soldier lays out his gear the night before. One keeps his phone in another room. One uses the exact same wake-up alarm every day for 400 days straight. Tiny rails. Massive outcome. Meanwhile, you're trying to fight your own impulses raw every morning like a man punching a hurricane. That is not discipline. That is stupidity wearing motivational quotes. Most people worship intensity. That is why they fail. Intensity spikes. Systems repeat. There is a reason military routines look boring. Boring survives pressure. The average person builds habits based on emotion. Elite performers build structures that still function when emotion disappears. That is the difference. One person needs to feel ready. The other already removed the choice. Now the game changes completely. Because scaffolding is not about becoming stronger. It is about needing less strength in the first place. You're thinking, yeah, but my life is different. I have too much going on. Wrong. That is not your situation. That is your excuse. The more chaotic your life becomes, the more structure you need, not less. No excuses. Here's what you do. First, remove one bad trigger tonight. Move the phone across the room. Shut off the notifications. Delete the app if your self-control folds faster than a lawn chair. You do not need better focus. You need fewer digital distractions. What distracts you most? Name it. Good. Now stop keeping it 3 inches from your bloodstream all day like an emotional support parasite. Second, build one automatic action tomorrow morning. Same coffee, same desk, same start time. No debate, no warming up with YouTube. No checking 6 apps like a raccoon digging through garbage hoping dopamine falls out. Start immediately. What just disappeared? Decision fatigue? That matters because every tiny choice drains energy. What should I do first? Maybe after breakfast, maybe after one more scroll. Maybe tomorrow. Congratulations. You just spent 30 minutes mentally buffering. Like a lagging YouTube video nobody asked for. Elite soldiers do not negotiate with routines. Neither should you. Third, make the system harder to escape. Block the apps. Lock the browser. Put friction in front of weakness. Because right now, your bad habits are smoother than your good ones. That is insane. You made distraction effortless. Then act confused when your brain behaves like an unsupervised puppy. Put obstacles in the way. Make failure annoying. Force your lazy side to be active for once. Fourth, repeat the exact same sequence for 14 days. No creativity. No mood-based changes. No pretending you work better spontaneously. Because you watched half a podcast about creativity while avoiding your actual responsibilities. You're not a misunderstood genius. You're inconsistent. Fix that first. What are you building? Behavioral rails. A system strong enough to carry you, even when your motivation evaporates like cheap cologne in summer. Because the goal is not becoming a motivation machine. The goal is to becoming harder to derail than the average person. The first few days feel almost pathetic. Too simple. Too repetitive. Too small to matter. You move the phone, you wake up at the same time. You repeat the same sequence again and again, and your brain hates that. Because your brain is addicted to novelty. Tiny dopamine hits. Tiny emotional fireworks. Modern people would rather feel intense for 2 hours than consistent for 2 months. They are addicted to emotional drama. Not progress, drama. The average person wants discipline to feel cinematic. A new notebook. A motivational speech. A 6-step morning routine narrated, like a war documentary while they still cannot answer one email without checking in on Instagram. But elite soldiers understand something brutal. Simple systems survive exhausted brains. That is the whole game. Because when stress rises, humans become stupid. Memory drops, patience drops, judgment drops. And if your entire productivity system depends on feeling locked in, you're finished the second life punches you in the mouth. The average person keeps trying to become mentally tougher. The professional removes the need to be tough every hour. One burns fuel constantly. The other conserves it. One spends an entire day in their own head just to start a 20-minute task. The other quietly builds systems that make good behavior automatic. That gap becomes enormous after 90 days. Because eventually, the disciplined person is not even trying harder anymore. The system is carrying them. Meanwhile, the average person is still staring at their phone at midnight, watching productivity and motivational videos, wondering why their potential never turns into reality. And honestly, that is basically the whole system. Remove friction, add rails, repeat automatically, done. Except there is one thing most people still destroy, and it is the reason their systems collapse after one bad week. And that, in one word, identity. Because if you still see yourself as someone trying to improve, your brain keeps negotiating. Elite soldiers do not negotiate with routines. The behavior already became part of who they are. That changes everything. Listen, nobody is coming to build your structure for you. Nobody is going to save you from your own impulses. You will watch this video. You will agree with it. Then you will go right back to relying on motivation, or you will not. The people who use scaffolding do not just become more disciplined. They become dangerous under pressure. Calm, automatic, reliable. That is who system builders are. That is who this was for. Look, most people watching this will close the video, feel inspired for 11 minutes, then wake up tomorrow and run the exact same broken routine again. Be the rare one who actually changes the structure. Subscribe. Because the next video breaks down exactly how professional race car drivers train their neural processing to read tracks at 200 miles per hour, and how you can borrow the same visual cortex training protocol to stop your own brain from lagging when you're under pressure. Until next time.